so we can ride on board with Mike Williams, who makes a great start, but then gets held up by the Janetta G20 there. In the hands of I think Richard Paulston. Richard Ralston in the Janetta G20, but now Williamson makes a move up on the inside of just about everybody, heading down towards the Montreal Herb in the second corner on this Snetterton at 300 circuit. Just in front of him, Steve Kell running out very wide in the Sierra XR4, now diving up on the inside of Miles Collins in the 205. A bit sideways goes Williamson through Palmer, where he holds it all together. Now power on down towards Agostini. Mike Williamson in the Evo 4 running in Class B. He now has the two cars going side by side in front of him. Even Martin Addison in the 106, making his way through past Daniel Irvin in the MX5. Daniel Irvin, another Class B driver. So this is the battle for Class B. The MX5 just about staying in front of Williamson. The Mazda takes so much speed through the corner and now attacks Martin Addison. Headed down towards Oggies, can't get it done though. The 106 powers out the corner and goes after Bill Addison in the Caterham. Super light as they turn through Williams. The Caterham slides out wide, the car goes all over the grass. The Caterham now will lose a handful of positions. Bill Anderson losing it out there then. Leading though, Colin Simpson by a long way in the lead. Here's the Marcus, he turning through the Ronald and Nelson complex. In second is the 106. Martin Addison there in second then. Third, Steve Kell dives up on the inside for fourth position of Michael Williamson. Steve Kell's got that done then. They're now coming through on the inside. Bill Addison trying to regain position. Miles Collins there as well. A huge pack of cars from about fourth back as they headed through Bombhole that time. Colin Simpson with a ginormous lead in the Marcus Mantis. We ride on board with Steve Kell now attacking Daniel Irvin in the Mazda as they put the power on. Kell tries to come alongside. Steve Kell, another Class B driver, so this is the battle for Class B as they cross the line. Martin Addison in the Peugeot has escaped. And then through there, can they get two cars in one? Mike Williamson into Richie's in the Evo. No, Irvin still leaves Class B. Then this is a great scrap for Class B as they head down towards Montreal. The three of them separated by nothing. Irvin has Williamson put his car on the inside of the Mazda, trying to stay in front. Still nosing on the inside is Williamson. They put the power on down towards Palmer and he goes through up to third overall, and the leader of Class B is the Evo 4 of Mike Williams. Goes ahead of the MX5 of Daniel Irvin and Stephen Kell, who's battling in the Class B in the Sierra. On board with him, he is running in third as they head down towards Agostini, the second of the hairpins here at the Snetterton 300 circuit. Meanwhile, a bit further back, we ride on board with a third of our onboard cameras, and that's the Ford Fiesta of Stephen Craggs, battling with Andy Wilson by the looks of things in the BMW M3. He pulls away down to Palmer and in fact losing out there is Craggs. Just getting past him was Jamie Liptrot in the M3. Leader Colin Simpson turns into Brundle once again on the drying track here at Snetterton. We've had two really poor thunderstorms, but now the water being dispersed by these Northern Sports and Saloon cars. And through into second goes Williamson then. He's making a move on the Class D leader ahead of Martin Addison in the 106. He goes at Miles Collins under lots of pressure. The Janetta Junior driver. Now who's coming back at Bill Addison though as they turn through Bombhole, and it's Steve Craggs, even Stephen Kell in the Sierra leading that group of cars, but he was under all sorts of pressure. There was Neil Claxton in the little Suzuki SC100, the A2 car that was flying the number 40 machine. After lap 1, Colin Simpson had an 8.2 second lead. Going really well in the Marcus. After lap 2 as the car's completed. Mike Williams now, of course, in the second half, getting to Addison at 11.1. But the Evo doing a similar lap times to the Marcus. So what can Mike Williamson do about the race leader? Remember, Williamson is running Class B. And now this is a replay. What happened down at Murray's? Stephen Kell losing out to about 3 cars, including the list of Suzuki. And look at Darren Cox in the Nissan 350Z flying along. Right, down to Agostini for Williamson in second. He locks up, he goes straight onto the wet grass, which just doesn't slow him down at all towards the tyre wall. Agostini should hopefully stop that before that happens. As see there, Darren Cox may well have been under yellows, gaining a position ahead of David Cox in the Peugeot 205. Williamson rejoining in then. Let's take a replay of what happened. The car just locking up onto the grass. Goes the Class B leader. And the car rotates out of the class lead and out of second position overall. Out of a second down towards the old S's, Brundle and Nelson. And look, it's still the 106 that can stay at the front of this scrap. The little Peugeot of Martin Addison has just behind the 2 Coxes. Continue their battle. Darren Cox back behind. Oh no, sorry, it's Miles Collins, isn't it? In front now. Where's David Cox gone then? In at the other 205. There he is, just heading through bomb hole now, so he's lost out somewhere. But that will be inside at the moment for the Janetta G20 there of Richard Ralston. Second in E1 to Bill Addison. Steve Kell leaves Murray's in his Sierra. Down across the line, down towards Richie's. Everyone shoots away from him down the straight. Into Richie's he goes. Dropping off the cars in front of him. And a change there further back. That is the Toyota Supra of David Hewiston, just in the Class B car. Just go ahead of Stephen Craggs in the Class D Fiesta. As they head now through Brundle and then on to Nelson. Right hander there. And power on down towards Bombhole. And it's a car off the road there. Further up the pack, we were on board with Steve Kell. Was it Mark Armstrong possibly in the Subaru? Had an off there. Meanwhile, battle on for second. Good look at the Suzuki of Neil Claxton. He's got himself onto the tail of Martin Addison, who's been in second now for a little while in his 106. Normally when someone passes him, they spin off the road. But here comes Claxton. Look on the inside the corner. Can't get that done just as yet. Daniel Irvin in the MX-5 sits there in 4th. 5th is Bill Addison. 6th is the Evo 9 machine of Peter Cook, who's in Class A1. Last time when they crossed the line, Colin Simpson in the Marcus had an 18-second lead, so we've gone past the halfway distance. There'll be 3 to go, or 2 to go when they complete this lap. It's 15-minute race around the 2.99 mile Snetterton 300 circuit. It looks like Colin Simpson is heading towards victory. We reckon just one car will get lapped, and that'll be the Peter Kalpodkasis MR2. Good scraps throughout the field, as you can see, heading through bomb hole there. But now Mike Williams, this is a replay. What happened to him out of Murray's? Nothing to him. He puts the power on though. He sees there's a very slow Suzuki SC100 in front of him of Neil Claxton, who's had a spin. Has such good pace as well. The Toyota Supra and Ford Fiesta battle continuing for 29th position. David Hewiston and Stephen Craggs put the power on and go down the centre straight. Here comes Colin Simpson then up to that MR2 that he will lap. He will turn into Brundle now then in that Marcus Mantis. He's raced in series such as GT Cup and actually in the Marcus Mantis Challenge nearly 15 years ago now. And there you can see his big lead when he crossed the line. Well, he did the bomb hole as the lead just come down the Bentley straight. Last time when he crossed the line, 23 seconds was his lead. Martin Addison in the 106, still there in second. Up to third has come Bill Addison in the Caterham side by side for fourth. Here comes Darren Cox. I think it is round the outside, but Daniel Irvin in the Mazda MX-5 stays in front as they turn through Nelson. And now Darren Cox put the power down in the 350Z and go through. He's moved up into fourth position behind the two Addisons. And there's the Evo 9 looking for a way past the MX-5 this time in the Coram curve. So it looks like Daniel Irvin will lose out there to the Mitsubishi Evo 9 of Peter Cook. With one lap remained at the end of this, as through a gained position for the Maguire Mini of Pat Ford going ahead of Stephen Kell in the Sierra. Pat Ford in second in Class A2. We can ride on board with Kell then through Coram, then onto the brakes for Murray's where we have this River running across the track, and now Kell attacking the Mini on the exit of the corner. The two cars running side by side now as they go onto the centre straight. Class A2 car versus the Class B car here, and the A2 car with the more power. The Mini zooms along down the straight. The replica special Saloon Peter Bouldering car heads into it. She's then in front, Pat Ford, and now it's Kell got someone on the inside of him because, well, he's just looking for the grip now in these damp conditions. The majority of drivers here this weekend will be the first time they've ever raced around Snetterton circuit. First time the Northern Sports and Saloon Car Championship has ever been here. And putting on a great performance, supporting the British Formula 3 and GT Championships. Down to Palmer then, Pat Ford in that Maguire Mini, breaking away from Stephen Kell. He looks for the quicker gain around the outside of Palmer. That's allowed up on the inside. They'll be covering, I think he must be David Cox, because he was further up earlier, then dropped back. Now coming back through again as they head down towards Agostini. The 15 car then just in front. Running in Class C and leading Class C is David Cox. In fact, the only entrant in Class C this weekend in the 205 into Hamilton. I think someone else coming through, possibly. Yes. That was the Saxo of Paul Moss gaining a position. Meanwhile, the race leader heads out of Nelson. Colin Simpson taking it very easy on this final lap of the race. Had a lead of 25 seconds last time, but he seemed to back right off on this lap. But it's the battle for second. That sees Darren Cox in front now. The Nissan 350Z in second position, being chased hard though by Peter Cook, and this is a battle of class as well. Bill Addison behind. Martin Addison in the Peugeot 106 took back to fifth. Then Irvin just behind him. Of course, that's the battle. Daniel Irvin leading Class B, I should say. Mike Williams is just next in bomb hole by himself. Neil Claxton's moved forward again with the Suzuki SC 100. Pat Ford in the Minis drove away. Then we got Cox. Steve Kell had up on the inside of him the number 8 Porsche 944 of David Botterill. Gained the position as they head down to corner. We can ride on board then with Steve Kell. Can he gain the position back as they head out of Coram down into Murray's? Not the easiest place to overtake, especially with that river run across track. And we got two spinners in front. The Saxo, I think, rejoining in about 11th position of Paul Moss. But he's got that Porsche 944 speeding up alongside him. It was David Cox, I reckon, actually second mistake of the race in the 205. He completely rotated, but change of 11th across the line. The Peugeot. The Saxo just losing out to the Porsche 944, but it was Colin Simpson won by just under 13 seconds at the end, and Peter Cook managed to find a way past Darren Cox. So Cook ahead of Cox at the end. Bill Addison in the fourth, and Martin Addison win the Class D class. He finished fifth.